The Southern Quality Ford Friday Night Blitz continues.
Y'all gotta get a shot of the jukebox, man.
And we got one.
You got the jukebox?
You'll see in a minute.
Good.
Well, welcome back to the Southern Quality Ford Friday Night Blitz. Huntington head coach Steve Dennis joining us now. Coach, thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming in late night with us here.
Guys, anytime. I love to sit around and talk football. Anytime. Y'all actually gave my wife a break tonight, so she actually didn't have to talk about football.
Well, let's talk a little Huntington football. We were just talking off the air, and actually let's talk a little bit about the young man that played for you last year.
Yes, sir.
Doug Davis, you said he's doing really well up there in Oklahoma. He's doing really well
in northeastern Oklahoma. He's I think one of my coaches said he's leading the conference in rushing. I don't know if he's starting full time, but I know he's splitting reps there in the slot. And I tell you what, man, we sure do miss number 21 right now. He's a great kid and a great football player.
Let's talk a little bit about this year's team. A lot of youth. You know, we talked a little bit off camera. You have, you know, what did you say, 50-some freshmen and sophomores?
We're dressing out about 76 right now, and we've got about 50 9th and 10th graders.
That bodes well for the future, but you're going to make some freshmen and sophomore mistakes right now.
We're going through some growing pains, you know, and those aren't excuses. We got to do a better job coaching, but we are going through growing pains. It's you know, we talked about earlier with Calvary. I think Calvary's got, I know a lot of those kids, they've got some young kids up front, and you know, you're going to pay dividends later on, but right now you just got to coach through it and work through it.
Now, one of the differences from year one for you at Huntington to year two is just the amount of players that have come out. I know when we talked, you know, during fall camp, that was one of the biggest notices, that you had a huge increase from year one to year two, just the amount of players you have.
Yeah, and I mean, it went from, you know, guys, it's even, we don't have enough jerseys to dress these guys out, and so like we're putting a dress list up in the locker room, and so you know, you talked about earlier about how that incorporates into practices. Man, that really gets your practice going, because these kids know, like, we're looking at them and telling them, like, look, the top 68 are going to dress. So if you don't bounce around and have a good week of practice, I see you walking from water to, you know, your endo group, you might not be on that list. And so, you know, that adds a little element of competition to it that, you know, we get excited about.
You make those kids that don't get to dress wear a suit on Friday?
Oh, they put on a different colored jersey, and they're there helping us on the sideline because they're still part of that team.
Right.
Now, you being in your second year, what did you learn from last year that you have now put to use with this Huntington team?
Look, I'm going to use the same thing I said. How much time do you have? I mean, I think I've just learned so much, you know, and a lot of learning it from other coaches, man. I'm one of these guys, I don't pretend to have it all figured out. I try to get advice from whoever will give me advice at all. But I just think feeling a little bit more comfortable in your skin, and, you know, having an idea of the kids. I was telling Brad earlier, you know, knowing where the campus, you know, last year was just trying to figure out, you know, I had to go see a student. He's in the 100 wing. I'm like, is that the one on the left, the right? You know, which one? You know, I know the wings now. And so I think everything is just more comfortable. Our kids understand the way we want them to practice, you know, off season, what that's expected. You walk out to one of our practices right now, and it just goes a lot smoother because they're kind of they're used to it. They're not learning what the expectations are. You know, they're now practicing them.
Let's talk a little bit about, you and I talked while Brad was on the air a little bit earlier about your relationship with Coach Gatlin.
Yes, sir.
You said he's an extension of your family. Just talk about having a mentor like that who's a great coach and a great man as well.
Man, I can't say enough about it. I mean, matter of fact, Emily was telling me, my wife, was that, you know, Coach Gatlin and his wife Donna and his daughter Morgan, I mean, I've watched Morgan grow up. I mean, guys, I played for him in high school. Morgan was literally like 6 years old when Jim got the job at Parkway. And, you know, I know people probably, you know, when they hear me talk, they're like, is he going to say something about Coach Gatlin every time he talks, you know? and I just can't help it. I love the man, love the Northwood family. You know, it's just a special bond. We talk, and, you know, about once a week I'm going to try to do an impersonation of him, you know, and about once a week I'll get a phone call, hey boy, how you doing? You know? And I just look forward to talking to him every week.
I have to say, does that relationship carry over into that district game?
No, none at all. There will be no love loss shed over there. We will try to beat them as bad as we can beat them, and he will try to beat me as bad as he can beat me. Matter of fact, last year they were up and onside kicked, so that shows you right there.
Well, awesome, Coach. We're going to We're going to go ahead and toss it to break here. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about several different games that we saw tonight. Get your thoughts on some of these games. Get some of Brad's thoughts about some of these East Texas games. But all that and more coming up next.
Friday Night Blitz on NBC 6. Friday Night Blitz on NBC 6. Friday Night